Welcome back. My name is Leaf Liz Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make this delicious Mongolian beef. Everyone is going to love, and it's so easy to make on a weekday. So I was at my local supermarket and they had this skirt steak on special, and I've never cooked with skirt steak, but the first thing that came to me was a stir fry. And I was thinking, what sort of stir fry do I want to make? And I haven't made Mongolian beef in ages, so we're going to make that tonight. So I'm going to use skirt steak. It's kind of similar to your flank steak. As you can see, there's plenty of lines and everything going through this way. So we're going to treat it very similar, and it's a tougher cut, but it's perfect for actual stir fries. So today I'm using a recipe from Marian's Kitchen. She is a fantastic cook. I'll link the actual recipe down below, and I'm going to be following that. Very simple. What I love about this recipe is that it doesn't use a lot of ingredients, and I just love that about it. To make just simple food just tastes absolutely amazing. So I'm going to show you the ingredients, and I'm just going to show you how easy it is to make. All right, so these are the ingredients here. It looks like a bit, but a lot of these ingredients were actually used the second time, so it's actually not a lot. So firstly, I have our skirt steak. So her recipe uses flank steak, but you could use whatever beef you want. I've heard most Chinese restaurants here in Australia actually use just rump steak. I know the skirt steak's gonna have a lot more flavour than a rump steak. And so over here, we have our marinade for the beef. So we have some soy sauce. We've got half a teaspoon of bicarb soda to kind of tenderize this. Then we've got 3 teaspoons of corn flour and a tablespoon of Shaoxing wine, which is a Chinese cooking wine. You can get it in most supermarkets. We've got a couple of tablespoons of oil to cook with. And then for the actual sauce, we've got 2 tablespoons of Shaoxing. We've got 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, and 1/4 cup of chicken stock. And then for our other ingredients, we've got some garlic here. I've got 2 small onions, which would be equal to maybe a large onion. I've got some garlic, and then I've got some spring onions as well. Now, also I have this capsicum that desperately needs to be used. It's a bit saggy. It's a bit like fake titties. They sag over time and needs to be used up. Now, a lot of the recipes do use capsicum. I know most of the recipes I've seen don't. So I'm going to put this in as well, just to get it used up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually slice up our beef and get that marinating. So what I like to do is I like to put a cloth under my mat here. And that's just going to stop that from moving. And then we have our beef here, which is your skirt steak. This looks a little thick maybe. No, that'll be right. So what we're going to do is we can see the lines are going this way. So to get our pieces, what we're going to do is I'm just going to take this down the middle. My cat Felix is under me because he heard beef. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut this on the bios on around a 45-degree angle, like so. And that's going to keep all those pieces nice and tender. Now, if you do find this a little bit hard, what you can do is put your meat in the freezer for about half an hour, and you'll find that when it's being frozen a bit, it's a lot easier to actually cut. So now we're going to marinate our beef. So I have some soy sauce, some Shaoxing wine, some corn flour. This is going to give that nice glossiness to the actual beef. And then also just a little bit of bicarb. That's going to actually tenderize the beef. Now, the easiest way to actually get this all stirred in is get in with your hands and just do it by hand. You can wash your hands after. Don't be scared of it. All right, so now that's done, we can put that aside and let that marinate while we get our veggies cut up. So now we're going to start cutting up our veggies. So I've got 2 onions here. I'm just going to quarter these and slice them pretty thick. I've got some green spring onions. I'm just going to cut them right up. I use the whole thing. No issues with that. And then I have some ginger and garlic, which we're just going to get nice and diced. And then I'm going to get this capsicum and get that into some strips as well. All right, so all that's cut up now. Now we're going to make our sauce, and then we're going to get frying. So I have a cast iron wok. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get that heating up now, and I'm just going to get that heating on maybe a medium heat. And with cast iron, you do want to just heat it gently and just heat it for a long period. I do have like a normal carbon steel one. It works all right, but these ones actually hold the temperature a lot better. So I'm just going to let that heat up while we're actually making our sauce. So to our sauce, we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of soy sauce, 1/4 of a cup of chicken stock, 2 tablespoons of shaoxing, which is Chinese cooking wine, and 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. That's it. I'm going to add just some ground pepper as well, just because I feel it's going to need it. And then I am just going to stir this until all that sugar is dissolved. And then on the side as well, I've got some corn flour here. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to that, turn it into a slurry, and have that on the side ready for when we do our stir fry. So I've just got that on the side there, and that is going to make our stir fry nice and sticky and glossy. So while the woks are heating up for our stir fry, I'm going to cut up the ingredients for our fried rice. So I like just on a fried rice of whatever ingredients I have in my fridge. So what I have here is just a rasher of bacon. I know, not typical, but I like a little bit of pork or something in it. I've got some eggs. I've got 3 carrots here. I've got some spring onions. I've got 1/2 cup of corn, some garlic, and some ginger. And then I've just got some rice here that I've cooked earlier. This is brown rice, and over the years I've grown to really love brown rice. So I'm going to cook with brown rice today. You can use whatever rice you want. I have cooked this earlier and put this in the fridge, so this is nice and cold now. But if you don't have time to, you could also just grab some of those microwave rices and just take it straight from the packet and into the wok. Nice and easy. So I've just diced up our bacon. I've got our carrot, and I've just quartered it and just sliced it into little cubes there. I've chopped up the spring onions. I use the greens, everything. Don't really worry about it. Then we've got garlic and ginger here. And then the eggs. I've got 3 eggs here. I'll beat them in a bowl off camera before we add them to the actual stir fry. All right, so now we're ready to make our delicious Mongolian beef. So as I said, I've had this heating on medium for about 10 minutes now. And I've just turned it right up on high now. And we're gonna get some oil. It's coated in a couple of tablespoons. Traditionally, Chinese restaurants actually almost deep fry in their woks all their beef and everything, so not as healthy for you. And then we're gonna add this, and we're gonna get into one single layer and not touch it. All right, so now a lot of that's flattened out and everything, not perfect. I'm just gonna leave it like that for a few minutes before we actually touch it, so that way we can get to actual caramelization and everything in it. All right, so now I've left it for about a minute. Now we can give it a nice stir, and you can see this wonderful caramelization we're getting on it. A home wok isn't strong enough to actually keep stir frying, so you're actually more likely to actually stew it if you keep on actually stir frying. So you're better off just leaving it like this, leaving for a minute, let it cook for a bit, and then give it a good stir. My stove is a LPG bottled gas, so this does cook a little bit hotter than a normal stove, but still not as good as a wok burner or anything like that. All right, so we don't want to overcook this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the beef from the bowl. As you can see, there's a few pink parts, more than fine with beef. So we're just going to take this out. I'm going to just put this into another bowl and just put it aside. If this was a proper wok, you could go ahead and do everything in it, but we need to just let this reheat now, and then we can fry off everything else. All right, so now we're going to add our onion, our ginger, and our garlic. Add a little more oil if you need to. I'm just using rice bran oil because it's a high temperature oil. And you can see that we have got some frond on the bottom of this wok. Don't worry, we're going to get rid of that. That's all flavour. So cook your onions how you like them. I like mine with a bit of a chew, but obviously not raw or anything like that. Those are about half cooked now, so now I'm going to go in with our capsicum. Smells absolutely amazing. Just that ginger. Love ginger. All right, once they look about done, we're going to add our sauce. And the reason why I haven't added the corn flour is if I add it now, it's going to catch and it's going to brown even more. So we're going to pull this around the edges. And just give the bottom of that wok just a good scrape down. Now we can add our beef back in. It looks absolutely amazing. And then we're going to add our corn flour and water slurry. And this is just going to turn it into a delicious glossy sauce. And then we're just going to add our spring onions. I'm just going to let that sauce just thicken just a little bit. And we're there. That is it. Quite an easy, delicious stir fry. And I'm going to tell you that beef looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to try it. All right, so now we're going to make a really easy fried rice. This is nothing traditional, but I'm a person who uses whatever is in my fridge and everything. And I just want to give you some inspiration just to show you can just use whatever you got. So I'm using brown rice, so already a lot of people are going to be like, not authentic. It's not, but it's going to go amazing with this Mongolian beef. All right, so I've got a carbon steel wok here. It's got that heating up really high. I'm going to add a bit of oil, just about half of it for now. And then for now, we're going to go in with our bacon. Again, totally not traditional. And our ginger and our garlic. And I'm also going to put our carrots. And our corn. All right, so now all of these have had some time to cook out, I'm going to add my rice. So as I said, I'm using brown rice, totally not traditional. If you really wanted the shortcut, you could also just grab a couple of packets of the microwave rice and literally just dump them straight in. I'm also going to add some more oil to the actual rice, and that's going to help it toast a lot easier. So as I said, when we're frying up the beef, what I want to do is just leave it there for, around 30 seconds once we've got it into a layer, and then give it a good stir. And then just leave it for another like 30 seconds, just so we're getting some actual browning and everything on it. You're not going to get that wok hay that you get from an actual wok because it is so hot that literally everything's just smoky on it. All right, so now the rice has had time to cook off. What I'm going to do is put a little well in the middle here. And I've beaten my 3 eggs here. I'm just going to empty them into the middle there. And what we're going to do is just give it a good stir. and kind of just like let it kind of just scramble in the middle there. Just keep stirring it because all the heat's down the bottom there, so that's going to cook it very quickly. Once you can see the eggs all nice and cooked, just stir it right in. All right, so my camera unfortunately cut out after I did the eggs. So what I've done is I've stirred the eggs right through, and then I've added a bit of sesame oil. Just gives it a nice toastiness to it. I've seasoned it with some soy sauce, and then I've just put a little Maggi seasoning because, you know, everyone likes a bit of MSG in their stuff. Don't have to, but I like to. So let's give this a go. All right, and I think that's all good. So let's dish it up. All right, let's give this a go. It looks absolutely amazing. I want to try a bit of beef first. That beef is just so tender. I'll just show you. It just falls apart. And even as a secondary cup, it works beautifully in this stir fry. And let's try it all together. As I said, I added the capsicum in it. What's vitamin C in capsicums? All right, that Mongolian beef is probably the best I've ever made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link Marion's recipe down below, and you can go check that out. It's absolutely amazing. And then we've got our rice. And I think the rice just goes perfectly with this. It's just one of those things. Absolutely delicious. I hope you give this one a go. I'm sure everyone in your family absolutely love this. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.